Start this show that Nigeria info is big. We search all of Lagos every day for news that affects you, but your eyes cannot be everywhere. And now there's a way for you to tell us what's happening in your area, what you think that Lagos needs to hear about. I always say it's a new world, Cody. News is no longer one way.
True. And you can play your part by considering yourself a stakeholder in the process. So it's not about turning on the TV at 10 p.m., to get bits and pieces of all of the information that you are interested that should interest you. It's essentially about you considering yourself an important person and going out there, getting the information, disseminating that information, and working with the feedback that you get. And it's interesting what we do on iWITNESS and how, people join in the process and also participate actively. It's exciting. We hope that we can consolidate and build more so that when you think of Nigeria info, what you think first is information for you.
That's right. And today's episode of iWITNESS is a special one because I am the eyewitness. I saw a story in my day-to-day life and it was something that I knew Lagos had to know about. So as you know, I have a cat. Right? His name is Gandalf. And well, actually now I have two cats because I just adopted a stray kitten. But my older cat has reached the age to be neutered. Neutering is a surgery that makes a male animal unable to have children. Basically, it's a castration. It's the humane thing to do, we've been told, because it prevents us from having too many animals that we cannot take care of. Anyway, my friends recommended a vet for the procedure. And so last weekend, I took my cat to his clinic. And when I got there, I found something that stunned me. I didn't find a regular vet clinic. I found something far more amazing. This vet had turned his clinic into an animal shelter. You read about it, you watch it in the movies, but you never realize that Nigeria, Lagos, could have something like that. This man goes around finding animals, rescuing animals in the Lagos area, and bringing them to his shelter until they can be released back into the wild, or if they're domesticated, until somebody can adopt them. So today for iWITNESS, I wanted to share this story with you, and I wanted you and I to have a talk with the man who is doing all of this. As I said, he's a veterinary doctor, a doctor for animals. But that's his day job. His other job, the job where nobody they pay him for, is to find these animals in distress, take them in, and either find homes for them or release them back into the wild. His name is Dr. Mark Ofua, and he's here with us today. Dr. Mark, welcome to iWITNESS on Hard Facts.
Thank you very much, Sandra.
I told Chukwudi about your pythons, Chukwudi.
I felt, the truth is in Nigeria, or for most of us, we do not joke with our protein, so everything is bushmeat. Whether it's a python or it's even a donkey. Once boys begin to salivate, they will come for you. But it is interesting what you do, and we're hoping that today we would learn and get to know, all of the passion behind this action of yours. I have seen several news items on social media where a whale is washed ashore in some parts of Bayelsa, Delta, and the people have a field day. In minutes they go for the jugular and get every important item on the animal, and just enjoy themselves. So we're going to basically discuss everything, the passion and why it is important that, just like Sandra that has gone out of her way to adopt a cat.
Yes. Two.
You have two cats
I have two now.
Sandra.
If you have never watched us before on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, today's a good day to start. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. Nigeria Info 99.3. Or if you simply search Nigeria Info, it will pop up and then you can watch us. It's important to watch us because we're about to show you some of the animals that are at Dr. Mark Ofua's shelter. If you go on our Twitter as well, you'll actually see pictures that I tweeted from the clinic while I was there. Our Twitter is Nigeria Info FM. You see pictures of different exotic animals that he's rescued. What are some of those animals, Dr. Mark?
Yeah, well, apart from the dogs and cats, we have a civet, a genet, and we have tortoise, and then a python.
Yes.
Sorry, Janet, not Jeanette, not like Jeanette, the Jeanette babe. Because some of
Janet.
these, I mean, this
Has
is not
Janet.
Joe Why.
It has Janet. Well, if you get on our Facebook, you can actually see the pictures of the Janet and the civet and the pythons and what's the other one? The tortoise
Yes.
and the monkey. But I didn't say pangolin there though. But he do a lot of work with pangolins.
Yes, I do a lot of work with pangolins, but pangolins don't do too well in captivity.
Oh, I see.
So when we rescue these animals, we rehabilitate them and then release them to the wild.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And I want us to go back. What made you start rescuing animals?
Okay, my work actually is on two aspects. First of all, rescue conservation of wildlife. Like he rightly mentioned, Nigerians, we have this attitude to wildlife, bushmeat. We see, we kill, without recourse or without thoughts to what the negative effect of wiping out these our local wildlife would be. So I grew up with that passion to make a difference. So from time I've been trying to do my own little way in rescuing these animals. I talk to hunters, I go to the bushmeat market and all that, and I let them know that, look, these animals, we have a duty to conserve them, So, well, it's not been easy. I use my money, I try to convince them, I do a lot of talk, especially if the animals are young, like the civet that I have. The hunters, actually, their traps caught and killed the mother.
Oh.
And when they went there, they saw the little baby beside. So, of course, they can't eat the baby. They brought the baby to me. So that is on one hand. Then on the other hand, the shelter also caters for dogs and cats.
Okay.
I discovered in my line of work that Nigerians buy these pets for all the wrong reasons.
What kinds of reasons?
They saw their friend with a similar pet, and they liked it. Some people would watch movies, John Wick 3, and then you saw these Malinois, and then everything. Right now, the Malinois are the rave. And then you just fancy the idea that, I've arrived.
also have dog in our
I should have a
house.
dog. And then you get one, and then you find out that you didn't even bargain for the attendant
the
issues.
stress.
Yes, that will come with it. So you have Nigerians giving up dogs for every reason. They actually come to the hospital and say, look, doctor, I don't want this dog again. Put it down. In other words, kill it.
Ah.
And then from different reasons, from the dog is too big to the dog is not big enough, the dog is too aggressive to the dog is not aggressive, to the dog is not productive for the person who wants to breed and all that, And I found out that if I do any of these euthanasia, that's what's called, it affects me. For a couple of days, I'm unable to eat, I'll be sad and all that. I said, okay, why put these animals and why don't you take them in? So that's how it started. I started taking these animals in, take care of them. They live to a good old age and
they die in your care.
Yes, and they are buried properly. And then I found out that I have so much animals. Why don't you look for people who have similar love for animals, who are able to take care of them and let them adopt?
We're going to talk about pet care as the conversation goes around, but let's talk about some of the wild animals that you rescue. These wild animals, how close do they live to the city? It's amazing to see these animals that I didn't even know were in Nigeria.
It's most interesting that these animals are local wildlife. When you were talking earlier, you mentioned exotic. These are not exotics. These are local wildlife. They're animals that are our neighbors. But because we have hunted and killed them with malicious intent, we have wiped out their population from around us with negative and deleterious effect. I'll talk about that later. Now, it would amaze a lot of people to know we have civets in our...
Is there a local name for civet? If you get on our Facebook, you can actually see a picture of the civet.
I know
Nigerian
what the Yorubas, they call it Eta.
Eta.
Yes, because when I talk with the hunters. Now, the genets, Genet, it's another animal we have very much around. Then
I'm seeing the civet on our screen right now.
Crocodiles, snakes, everything. Local animals, they are killed with prejudice. But the one that breaks my heart the most is the pangolin. Because the pangolin happens to be the most trafficked mammal on earth. And it's an endangered species. Meaning, if we don't do our bit to conserve these animals, they're going to be wiped out from Earth. And we are going to be held responsible because they are found in our locality. Yes.
Now, what people do not have an understanding about, it's going to be really difficult for them to relate with. Now, you have a situation where you've spoken so much about, wildlife conservation. I know that there are countries that do a lot to see that, they preserve and protect wildlife. But I don't know, in Nigeria, are we really big on ensuring that domesticated wildlife here is conserved? I saw a video recently of, it was in Ijebu Ode, where you had elephants in some farmland, and you had people trying to take photos or record videos, and the elephants got aggressive and chased them. I did not even know that, we could get to the point where, look at God, we could get to the point where you would see animals, elephants, just stroll. The only ones we know, the wild animal we know, is the one that we always shout, and plead the blood whenever we see it so that we are protected. But, do we have laws in place to ensure that we preserve and protect wildlife in Nigeria?
Thank you very much for that question. Now, the time has come where we all must wake up to our responsibilities. Yes, there are laws in place. But enforcement is a whole different ballgame.
So it's like everything else in Nigeria. There are always laws, but enforcement is a problem. There are laws in place.
Enforcement, awareness, education, those things are at fault. And that is where we come in. We all would every stakeholder, the government, the veterinarians, the population, the populace, we all must come together to play our part in conservation. The elephants you mentioned, there's actually a preserve. I am sure 99% of Lagosians and people from Ogun State don't know. There's a government preserve, the Omo Reserve, in Ogun State. It's supposed to be a protected forest, and you have elephants come up there. But because the laws are not enforced, the rangers are not equipped, you have poachers go there to kill these animals. Some time ago last year, a hunter killed an elephant and posed proudly on the elephant, post the pictures all around Facebook and all that. If the laws were enforced, that guy should be in jail. Because that's a protected animal. So that's the challenge we're facing right now.
I also need to ask you, Dr. Mark, these animals that you rescue and, that are our own local wildlife, why do they need your help? What are you rescuing them from?
Okay, thank you. It's two ways. First of all, they were put on earth by God, same way we were put on earth. We're meant to coexist. We're not meant to drive them out. And in the long run, when we rescue and conserve these animals, we are helping ourselves. In the long run. Let me just try and explain quickly. Einstein said, if we wipe out bees from the earth, we would last just 4 years.
Wow.
Yes, mankind will last just 4 years.
If we wipe out bees?
Bees, yes.
Like bzzz,
yes.
Like honeybees?
Yes.
Wow.
And I can't remember when last, or if I ever had bees for breakfast or lunch. And I don't know if you eat bees too.
Do people eat bees?
I don't know, but they are that relevant to us. If we wipe them out, we have just about 4 years to live.
Wow.
That's because it's called an ecosystem. There's a balance in nature. So when you aggressively attack one aspect of this balance, you set off the balances and then problem arises. Now, let me quickly take your memories back. A few years ago, Ebola is still trending in the news right now, And then Lassa fever is still trending. These are problems that have come up recently. Now, let me ask you this. What causes Ebola, or what carries Ebola and transmits it easily? We all know monkeys, Then Lassa fever, rats. Now, these are animals that are kept in check by snakes. Snakes feed primarily on rodents, rats. And then the larger snakes feed on monkeys. Same as bigger, the cats, the leopard and all, crocodiles and all. But we have hunted the natural predators of these animals far away from us. So the animals have come closer. The predators, the snakes that should keep them in check, we've killed them off. So the rats are now very free to come to our homes. So they come with their disease. And that's the ones we know. There are so many other diseases that these rats carry. Leptospirosis, the plague, and all that. by coming close to us, they bring these diseases to us, and we spend millions, billions of naira trying to treat these diseases without taking to recourse that, look, there's a natural solution that suppresses this disease. You know, so those are the upsets we've caused in the ecosystem and the negative feedback.
Now, you told me that when I was in the hospital, you told me that some of these animals, you found them, you rescued them from hunters' traps. Why are we still hunting animals in this day and age?
Actually, all of the animals you saw were rescues. All of them. These hunters, they will tell you that this is the only thing they know how to do. And this is what they learned from their parents. That is what their parents passed on to them. And then another thing I found out, in all honesty, they don't even know better. The hunters don't have the concept of extinction. They believe these animals are put there by God, and that there's no way
they finish.
They finish. There's no way they can finish.
And they gain prestige
Yes.
by hunting.
The bigger the animal,
the bigger the animals. I mean,
prestige.
Ogbuefi,
You know,
Ogbunama.
so it becomes a problem, because if you tell him stop hunting, what does he start doing? This is where government and agencies can now come in and give him alternate. And I think there are things like that in the pipeline. For example, come and breed grass cutters.
Okay.
For people that like bushmeat, there are some people that if they don't eat bushmeat, they won't be okay. Breed grass cutters for them.
Okay.
Leave the monkeys alone, leave the snakes alone, leave the crocodiles alone.
Okay.
You know, so by giving them an alternative, we can work together to conserve and to save the animals in the forest.
Now, tell us about releasing these animals back into the wild. How do you decide if an animal can go back and if an animal is ready to go back? First of all, which wild? Is there a wild in Lagos? Which wild are you releasing your pythons back into, for instance?
Okay, yes. The animals now, they fall into two categories.
Okay.
The endangered species and the ones of least concern. There are some animals that they are not in danger of extinction. Okay. Now, when we get these animals from the hunters, from the traders, they are usually in varying degrees of debilitation. Some are sick, some have been macheted, some are the trap had caught, maybe strangulate them or maim them, or you know. So when I get these animals, the first thing I do is to treat and rehabilitate. I've done several surgeries on the snakes. And
you've done several surgeries on snakes?
Yes.
You can do surgeries on snakes?
Yes, I have.
How do you I'm trying to figure out like the physics of it. How do you do surgery on a snake?
It should be the medicine of it.
Wow. How do you do surgery on a snake?
Yeah, we anesthetize and then
well, you're a vet, it's your job.
We do our thing. You know, so we rehabilitate. Some of them are dehydrated. That is what happens for 98% of the pangolins. So we take care of them when we see that they are well. The ones of least concerns, like the pythons and the monkeys that we have around, I take them deep into the forest. And yes, we have very good deep forest where
in Lagos.
In Lagos, where you have little human activity.
Okay.
Where there's going to be very little or no chances of conflict with humans. That's what we take them to release. The Ekwe forest belt, the Ikorodu forest belt, that area, yes, that's where we make our releases.
Okay.
But if these animals are the endangered species, like the pangolin, we take them to protected preserves, like the Nigerian Conservation Foundation at Lekki, where we make the releases. So the animal continues to thrive in these protected preserves.
I see. What's the process, though, of releasing these animals?
Yeah, well, apart from the endangered, there's no particular process. The animal is fit to live. We make sure we're not imprinted on them. That is another thing we make sure of.
Yes, you mentioned the imprinting. What does that mean?
The civet, why I still have the civet, when it came to us, it was about a week-old baby, no teeth, blind, suckling.
Aww.
So we had to bottle feed. So it grew, it got its senses, it gained its senses, knowing a human parent.
Oh, so you were his mommy.
Mommy and daddy.
Oh, that is so cute.
You know, so such an animal, if I release it to the wild, he's the one that would see the hunter and run to the hunter.
Oh.
Because he's grown to know humans as friends, yes.
Family.
So such an animal, I have imprinted on it. So I cannot release to the wild. If we have a sanctuary like the civet, a sanctuary has a indicated interest in him. They are still working on their permit from the government.
Okay.
Once the permit is correct, they'll pick up the civet.
Okay.
So those animals we've imprinted on, like the snake I did a surgery on, we had to be taken care of and then changing the wounds, the plasters and everything, dressing the wound. So we imprinted on the snake. If I drop the snake on this table, it won't make any attempt to escape.
Please don't drop the snake on the table.
Because he doesn't see humans as danger again. So those animals that we've imprinted on, we can only release to sanctuaries.
Okay.
Yes, or protected preserves, but not to
Chukudi,
the
lots
wild.
of people, after I shared the pictures on my Twitter, by the way, you can check our Twitter, Nigeria Info FM. You see the pictures of these different of these different animals. Lots of people saw the pictures and went to his shelter, and lots of people were taking pictures with the snakes, and I was telling them how brave they were.
Really very brave. Really very, very brave. Now, I'm concerned about, the education and letting people understand that we have a responsibility. For example, you mentioned a conservation center, and, this is not blowing my trumpet. I think I know. But I'm surprised that this is the first time I'm hearing of such. Now, people have complained about the depth of information, putting information out there so that people really understand. There are people who are passionate about this and would love to join you. But because they feel, in the end, where you have so many people complaining about the situation, there is nothing we can do. Let them have their way. I have seen videos of turtle, especially, in the Aja area, Lekki axis, and how, people would beg and say, please, give me this turtle, and people just say, give me money. Now, for some people, it's essentially about fulfilling a particular need. I want my pot of soup to have living things inside, so I don't care what you say. Now, how do we go about educating people and letting them understand that you have a responsibility? So when you see these, these animals, the first thing that comes to your mind is not grilled food, or meat, or deep fried meat, or how beautiful it will look on a plate of white rice or fada sauce. So how do we go about educating people so that they have the idea and they can spread the word, and together we can support what you do and ensure that you record considerable progress?
I have a simple answer to that. It starts
he's a
with
one-man army.
Yes.
Yeah, he's basically a one-man army. So it starts with what? With you?
It starts with me. That's it. I have been doing this thing now for over 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
And nobody's heard about it. And then you came around and then you're telling so many people about it. If 1, 2, 3 other people also pick up the baton and do their own little bit.
What's their own little bit, though?
Education, talking to people about the need to save these animals, reduce the passion for consumption of bushmeat, because if there is no buyer, there will be no seller, and that's the simple truth. So
bushmeat is a huge problem for conserving wildlife.
Oh yes. As long as there's a bushmeat market that's thriving, the wildlife will always be in danger, because these hunters, all they invest in is in their bullet or the traps. They don't invest in raising the animals, so they would always go back again to the bush to harvest this animal for the trade. So it starts with education. There's this thing I do. I go to schools. Which I enjoy doing. Primary schools, secondary schools, talking to the kids about the need for conservation, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. They are the ones that have the work. It will be very, very difficult talking to an adult who is set in his ways, who has developed a taste for bushmeat.
Who would say that in my generation, because there are people
my
forefathers, we do not miss bushmeat,
and this
especially with fresh palm wine.
This pangolin, for example, apart from the belief that they say it tastes like chicken. If you want
they
chicken,
say everything tastes like chicken.
If you want chicken, why don't you go for chicken? Why do you go for something that tastes like chicken?
Good point, sir.
I don't know. And then there's this belief it cures everything from diabetes to erectile dysfunction to high blood pressure. And
this particular animal?
Yes.
Pangolins?
Yes, it's all
Well, the picture of the pangolin is up on our Facebook right now. You can actually see it. It's such a pretty creature, and people, it's sad that people kill this. Now, we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about animal care in general. The good doctor started this conversation by saying that people get pets for all kinds of different reasons. When he was telling us why he started doing this, he said people get pets for different reasons, and then when they get these pets, pets, they don't realize that they've entered one chance, and then they say, "Oh, doctor, I'm tired. I better kill this animal for me." And what are their reasons for wanting to kill this animal? Oh, it's too big. Oh, it's too small. So after the break, let's talk about animal care. Oh, and you can call, by the way. Leave us comments on Facebook, Nigeria Info FM on Facebook and YouTube. Comments there are welcome. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. Or you can call the live show if you have questions for the good doctor. The numbers to call are 01277-0993. 01277-0993. You can also call 01277-1993, 2993 and 3993.
Hard Facts will be right back.
Twenty-six minutes to 5, and Lagos, we're talking to a man who is doing the unpaid work of rescuing domestic and wild animals here in Lagos, Nigeria, and sheltering them and releasing them back into the wild or to owners who can love and care for them. It's Eyewitness on Hard Facts. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I am Ezugu Chukwu the Cyprian.
And we've been talking to Dr. Mark Ofua. On Facebook, people are wondering whether you're saying saying them that whether you're telling them that bushmeat is not good anymore. You're telling them to stop eating bushmeat so that there won't be such a high demand for hunters to continue to go out into the field. So are you saying bushmeat is not good? Is that what you're saying, Dr. Mark?
Yes.
Very
I
straight
can
to the
explain,
point.
but yes, we are not about to. We're not facing an apocalypse, or we've not run out of the domestic animals for food. We have rams, goats, share, whatever around. Why are we leaving these and going for the ones that are in danger of going extinct? The ones that have a role they play in nature. You understand? So let's cut down on the
need to consume bush
yes,
meat.
and then if we have a taste for this meat, we should farm the ones that can actually be farmed. Yes,
the ones that procreate fast,
yes.
and are not at risk of going extinct. Now let's talk about animal care. I did mention that that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Some of my listeners have pets. Some people are like me, they have cats, some have dogs, some are thinking about having pets, and I want us to talk about pet care. What should we know about it? We'll start with dogs and cats because, those are the most common ones. What should we be doing to make sure that our dogs and our cats are healthy?
Okay. To start with, I'm going to give it a theme.
Okay.
You're thinking of getting a pet, you're thinking of owning a pet, there's what we should call responsible ownership. It's a deep word. Responsible ownership. Getting a dog is a fad. Yes, your friends have dogs, killer dogs, big dogs, you want to have dogs and all that. Or your girlfriend is having a birthday and you have this cute idea of getting a lovely puppy and then tying a red bow around it and putting it in the carton and then giving us a surprise in the office. Very romantic. But remember this, it's a lifetime commitment. Is she prepared for that? After the romance and the whatnot and when it wanes after about a week or two and she's dealing with poop and urine and all that, would she kick that lovely puppy to the back of the house? So responsible ownership is the key word here now. I had a client, and this breaks my heart whenever I think about it. She brought her puppy. She lives in VGC. Okay, as at that time, she brought her puppy to the clinic, and the puppy was all hidebound and skinny. And she was like, she doesn't know what's wrong. She bought the puppy about 2 weeks ago, and the puppy was all chubby and everything. So, doctor, what's wrong with my puppy? And then, as I was asking questions, I found out. I asked her, yes, what do you feed the dog? And she had this credulous look on her face. Feed the dog?
Wow.
What?
I'm telling you that she didn't know she had to feed the dog. That she just bought the dog and put in the backyard. Backyard in VGC, not backyard in one slum where the dog can scavenge.
Yeah.
Backyard in VGC. So this dog was starved for 2 weeks, surviving on I don't know what. And then when I told her that this dog was supposed to be eaten 3 times a day, she broke down to tears, crying. She didn't know. So part of...
No, I don't understand. How do you not know that
she didn't know? She was
it's
crying.
a living thing. Even if you have a plant, you have to put water.
Even if she bought it from a
When
store,
you
they would have
didn't buy
been
a
giving
goat.
her a charger. I don't understand how.
I
in
mean,
God's name.
goat. If you have a goat, you have to cut things for the goat to eat. If you have a grass, so I grew up in a house where we always had animals. We've had grass cutters. We've had cats. We've had rabbits. We've had all kinds growing up. So maybe I'm talking from a place of privilege. But back to your story.
So maybe she never had any of that opportunity and somebody gifted her the dog. So she dropped at the back of the house. So what she didn't know, honestly. And then that brings me to my first point, knowledge. Any animal you're going to get, ask yourself, what do I know about this animal? Go to the internet, read wide, ask people that own such animal. What does it take to have this kind of animal? What are the emotional requirements? What are the physical requirements? What are the food requirements, health requirements? Get to know. Speak with your vet or speak with a vet. Get to know what is necessary. You mentioned dogs and cats. Yes, these are the pets that are most common around. Yes. Now, dog is a general word. You have in Nigeria, about 20-something species or breed of dog with different requirements. What the Lhasa Apso, which is also known as a lap dog because it's small, or a Chihuahua would require in food, health, exercise, is different from what a Great Dane, which is a giant breed, or a St. Bernard's would require. So ask yourself, this dog that I want to get, this dog that I fancy, does my lifestyle allow me to own such a dog? You can't be staying in a terrace house or in a compound that has very little land space and you own a big dog like Doberman or the Great Dane I mentioned or the Boerboel, because these dogs require lots of exercises. So you ask yourself, my lifestyle, does it allow me to keep this breed of dog? Do I go out in the morning and come back at night? Then you can't get any dog that has tendency for aggression because you're not there to teach it to socialize it properly. You understand? So you try, okay, you want to get a lap dog, for example. These dogs, they require grooming. And this is something you see everywhere. You see dogs looking like Rastafarians. But when you see the picture on the internet, these are cute dogs. They require grooming, daily grooming. But you go live in the morning, you come back at night, and the first time you have time in the week is Saturday and all that. Don't own such a dog. So you ask wide and all that. And then as you're getting the pet, get a vet. It's most important. Don't get a quack. Get a certified veterinarian who will teach you what to do in owning the dog, yes, and then would handle the health aspect of the dog.
Now, so I started the story by saying that I met you because I came to neuter my cat,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Why is it important for people to neuter and spay their pets?
Now, if this is one experience I get in the shelter, and it makes me laugh all the time. Someone will come and say, "Oh, I want to adopt a dog. I want a female Boerboel." And I say, "Oh, that's a female Boerboel. She's up for adoption. She's been spayed. She's been neutered." Say, "Doctor, you mean she cannot have puppies again?" I said, "No." Say, "No, I don't want." So, first of all, we have this social-cultural aspect of wanting everything whole. You want the animal whole. You don't want it any part off. You understand? That's the first part.
Okay.
Then there's also the other part of, "Oh, let me make extra cash with this animal."
Okay.
You're not a breeder. You are a banker. You understand? But you want to make extra cash with dogs. Those animals are going to suffer. I am a vet. I have dogs. I have in my house. I have males and females. And I don't let them breed. I don't let them have puppies. Because I know I'll be an irresponsible breeder. Even though I am a vet. Why? Because I do not have the time and the dedication it requires to breed puppies. You understand? So that is it.
Time and dedication. We're
Yes.
learning so much on iWitness today. If you have thoughts, share with us. 01277-0993, 01277-1993, 01277-2993, 01277-3993. I want to ask about our zoos, Dr. Mark. What about our zoos? Can our zoos take some of these animals that you have at your shelter? Chukwudi is laughing.
Yes. I foresee a future where I work with zoos, with sanctuaries, which I already do.
Okay.
I give animals out to sanctuaries and all that, yes.
Okay.
They can come in, yes.
And take some of
Yes.
the animals that
Yes,
are
to
currently
show,
at your
yes.
place. Okay. Well, let's go to the phone lines now. Hello.
Hello,
Yes. Welcome. What's your name?
good afternoon. My name is John.
Good afternoon, John.
Yes, doctor,
Yes.
you are doing a good job there.
Thank you very much.
I had the point and I made a mistake. I had a dog Boerboel before,
Okay.
but because of lack of time, I had to lose that dog.
Oh, you lost the dog.
I lost the dog.
Sad. Okay.
The dog just died,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sad.
and I bought that dog from a Tunisian friend.
Okay.
So I just want you to advise me, because that my friend called me that I should come and pick another Boerboel again.
Okay.
But I don't have time. I want that maybe I can get in touch with you so that you can be able to teach me properly.
Well, if you can get in touch with me, I'll be very proud and glad to teach you. But part of responsible ownership, if you know you do not have time, don't own a dog. There's something else I do. It's called fostering. If maybe you're on leave and you have a month to yourself, you can come and pick a dog
Okay.
and foster that would stay with you, play with you.
Foster is big words. What do you mean when you say foster?
Temporary possession or temporary ownership.
Uh-huh.
It will
Okay.
stay with you for that 1 month, 2 months that you have the time for
For the
him or
for the
her,
animal.
for the animal, yes. And then when the time is up, you bring back.
And
Okay.
then-
Yes.
And then you can test to see if you want to do this
Yes,
for the rest of your life.
Yes, because
All
it's
right.
a lifetime thing.
We've got Darlington. Hello, Darlington.
Yes, so Sandra, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Good afternoon.
During your Tanzania story, you called me, and I wanted to answer my father's name. You didn't pick.
Well, got us on Facebook. Let's talk now.
It's okay. These animals,
Yes.
I have a phobia because of their venom. Oh.
Yes.
Your vet, does he remove the venom, or how does he manage to stay with them? Because actually, one of the reasons why we poach them or whatever is because we don't have enough food, and we feel that God has created them for our feeding and all that. That's why I feel. Oh, I don't know. So if we begin to feed animal, would that be enough for human beings?
I'm going to let the vet answer that after we take this next call. Hello.
Hey, Sandra.
Hey, good evening.
My coach. Actually, I love your program. My name is Yemi.
Hi, Yemi.
From my ICD Ikorodu.
Welcome.
I have a dog,
Okay.
German Shepherd,
Okay.
a female.
Oh.
Very lovely. Black, shining.
How old is she?
She will be 6 months by 22nd of this
Oh,
month.
very young.
Very young, yeah. I got it around February.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a male dog. Any breed. Of any breed.
Okay. Why, if
I
I
don't
may
know
ask,
if it's
why do
house.
you want a male dog?
I think presently I have a female, like I said, and I need a companion that she can be playing with.
She can play with you. She can bond with you and do very well with you. She
Even
doesn't
yeah,
need
she
another
does
dog.
that with my children.
Now, if you get a male dog, you're going to have
Yeah.
puppies, probably of crossbreeds, and these puppies won't. You would have to look for
I
homes for
have
them
time.
and all that.
I'm
Yes.
a self-employed.
Okay, so you want to
I
go
have
into
time.
breeding. If you want to go into breeding,
Yes.
fine. Get the knowledge about breeding and then go into breeding and then focus on your animals. Yes.
All right.
Yemi, thanks for calling the show. What we're talking about before we put the mic on.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, let's talk to Victor in Aja. Hello, Victor.
Sandra, good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
I love this your program. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You know what? Some people buy dogs because of my neighbor has dog. I want to buy dog.
So,
Like my own. I have a German Shepherd.
Okay.
He's almost a year plus now. But whenever you see that dog, you will be happy to be seeing dog and you'll be happy to be touching the dog.
Okay.
The dog consumes almost 40,000 naira every month for
Hey.
his feeding.
thank you very much for taking care of the
Every
dog.
month. Every month.
Living
he
above the
consumes
minimum
40,000
wage. Wow.
Yes, they're expensive to take care of.
So whenever some people see, they'll say they like this, they like this. I say he's not liking it. Can you take care of the
Soup
dog?
was sweet.
That is,
Exactly.
yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for calling, Victor. All the pet owners are calling the show today. Hello.
Hello, Sandra.
Yes, how are you? Good evening.
Good evening. This is Samuel from Badar.
Hello, Samuel.
I'm fine. Please, I want to ask the vet 2 questions. The vet, I want to know, there are some belief in your land that say cat and dog, when something is going to happen to their owners, they know. And they will be trying to cry and hovering around the owner. I don't know.
Okay.
So I want to ask you. That's number 1. And for Pangolin,
Yes.
what's the Yoruba name for Pangolin?
Okay. The Yoruba name for pangolin is Akika.
Akika, okay.
Okay, because yes, they fold into a circle when disturbed. Yes, and then for the first question you asked, what I say is, if I don't know about something, I'm not too proud or too afraid to say I do not know.
Okay.
Now, the question he asked is not a science that is taught in school. I am a vet. I was taught and trained in the school. You understand?
True.
But for if dogs have metaphysical abilities and they see spirits and they're able to foretell disasters and all that, I do not know because we don't have any concrete evidence that supports it. That is not saying it's a lie, but I just don't know.
I just don't know, he says.
I want to talk about animal rights.
In Nigeria.
Do we have human rights? Well,
let's start with human rights.
Yes. Let's start. But we are discussing
animals.
I mean, it's Nigeria info. It's about changing minds. Huh?
I mean, the truth is, I already know the answers.
Yes.
But we need to ask the question.
Yes, of course.
Let's talk about animal rights. You mentioned the fact that, in Nigeria, even though a lot of people do not know about them, there are conservation centers where, wild animals are kept. And, I mean, all you need to do is just ask. Let's talk about animal rights and how, animals are treated. I recall my cousin, crying one time when I visited them, and I was told that their dog passed on.
Yeah.
And, the house, it was... The atmosphere, I felt really very, very bad.
It happened to me. I was in third year when our dog, her name was Thatcher, when she died, and my family was a mess. My father had to bury her, give her like a burial, and he was crying the whole time. They refused to tell me after she died. She was a part of the family.
So I'm looking at how people are passionate about, some animals or such animals. And you have people just say, I beg you, not be dog, beat down for head. How do we go about, having that feeling of empathy? Let me say empathy first, to look at these animals and say, I mean, these animals are wonderful creation, and we can love them.
Now it all boils down. It has a strong thing to do with ignorance. Now, somebody called in and mentioned about snakes and all that. Now, if I can categorically tell you that 99% of things you know about snakes is wrong. Do you understand? So, if you already have the wrong information, you're going to approach them differently, wrongly, and everything. The same things with dogs and cats. We have very wrong notion, very wrong impressions of them.
Especially
you
cats.
understand? So it comes with awareness, and the empathy you're talking about, it comes with awareness. And we're getting it beautifully in the younger generation. The ones that are coming up, they have it. Yes, we have some Nigerians that are empathic. We have some Nigerians that their dogs are now fast becoming kids. Yes. A lady came and I asked, what is your name? She says, Mrs. Okoro. What is your dog's name? Chester Okoro.
Aww.
Yes.
Yeah, Thatcher was Sandra Ezekwesili.
Yes. And
her name was Sandra Ezekwesili.
If she wants to talk about her husband,
that's why I love animals. I grew up in a house where we loved animals.
If she wants to talk about her husband, she'll say Chester's daddy. And she's Chester's mom. And she has kids. So, yes, we have Nigerians that are waking up to this, and we hope and pray
Chukodi's
that
in shock. You should watch Chukodi's reactions.
Yeah.
Chukodi's reactions are live on Facebook.
Daddy, Chester's mommy.
Yeah. They're live on Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info FM.
So it's interesting. It's interesting.
Let's take in a few more calls. We've got Oluwafemi. Hello, Oluwafemi.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, quick one though. I'm in a noisy place. I just want to ask, having released the animals back to the wild, right? I want to ask, is there any mechanism of tracking them to check the movement and all of that?
God bless you for that question. It's a great question, and it's what we should be doing. But if you remember, like you so rightly coined, it's a one-man army thingy. Getting these GPS devices, GPS-enabled devices for tracking, they are rather expensive and all that. So it's not something I have been able to afford. But really, these are what we should do. We should be able to track the animals, see their range and how they survive in the wild, especially the pangolins we release. We should tag them and check up on them and all that. But
quick one, have you made contacts, and do you get help or support from international bodies? I know that there are people who are passionate about this and do it well.
Or even Nigerians that love
Nigeria
animals.
also.
Yeah, well, help and support from international bodies, no. But we have Nigerians who see what I'm doing and they ask, how can I be a part of it? I have friends, especially expats, who say, oh, I'm bringing dog food for you today. I'm bringing cat food for you tomorrow. I'm bringing blankets for the dogs in the shelter. I'm coming to volunteer, yes. And then with what you did on Twitter, we've had people come up and say, oh, I want to volunteer. Can I come on Saturday to clean up? Can I come on Sunday to walk the dogs? Beautiful. These are things that are coming
feel
up.
so good with
and
myself.
they all started recently, but it's very, very good. We have individuals that are willing to help.
How about government? I mean, you have animals that should not be in a shelter. I know how Nigerian government is. Have you gotten any pushback from the Nigerian government?
Yeah, well, I have had one or two face-offs, and thankfully it was resolved amicably with a warning and a smack on the head. And then I have adjusted accordingly. And what I hope for, like what I told them is, I look forward to a situation where we would work hand in hand because we should complement our efforts. There are things the government can do, laws and implementation that I cannot do. There are things that I can do, like reach to the animals, the hunters, the traders, that the government cannot do. So we should work hand in hand to save these animals. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Marco Fua. Dr. Marco Fua is a vet who is doing the Lord's work of rescuing animals and keeping them in his shelter. Where's your shelter located in case people want to come and help out?
Oh, well, it's on 4 Wankwo Ibusa Drive, Ado Road, Aja.
Say that again?
4 Wankwo Ibusa Drive, Ado Road, Aja.
And you can find it if you use Google Maps.
Yes, you can.
What if people are using public transport? Like, what's the bus stop or something like that?
Get to Aja, take a bike or a car or anything and say you're going to the animal hospital.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it from the good doctor himself. If you missed this interview, you can watch it on Facebook and YouTube. Chukwudi Ezogu has been here being astounded by our doctor guest.
Papa Chester, Mama Chester.
Let's talk about the economy on the other side of 5 o'clock. It's a serious conversation. I have a powerful panel with me, and we're going to be talking about what's ahead for all of the MDAs whose job it will be to fix Nigeria's economy or make sure that it stays stable. I am Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I am Ezugu Chukwudi Cyprian.
Hard Facts will be right back.